Why didn't I get a cool magical light beam as a kid? I want a cool magical light beam. Well, if it points to where I am at all times, actually, that sounds awful.
Water suspended in midair.
Where they have remained untouched by time for 80 summers.
It's not right.
No, it's not.
This looks so awesome. 80 summers, by the way? I thought it was over a century. Unless some of your years just skipped
There.
summer.
Up ahead.
Dude, this is so cool. I dig it.
Down in the center. Follow me.
I sure hope nothing goes wrong here. Oh yeah, that is a baby.
He's still primed. I'll never forget my first priming. The fear. And I was old enough to understand what was happening. One can only imagine how this poor child felt.
He is the victim of an unforgivable sin. Committed by people who saw him as nothing but a means to an end. He must be so frightened.
Then I'll ease his burden.
You don't mean...
I'm not going to hurt him. Contrary to the tales, I don't go around killing dominants for no reason.
We have killed a lot of them, though.
What if I told you there was a way to remove Walis's icon?
I'd tell you you were a madman.
It's hard to believe, I know. But it can be done. Though, it isn't without its risks. Part of the icon remains no matter what.
So, it might still come to violence.
I don't know. It depends on the dominant. I've seen things end well, and I've seen things spiral out of control. But I do know one thing. If we turn our backs on this child, there will be no end to his suffering. And I think that a worse fate than the alternative. Don't you?
Very well. Do what you must. And whatever happens, I will own the consequences.
Don't be afraid, little one. Let me bear the weight.
Uh-oh.
Hush now. It's going to be all right.
Is it done?
I think so. I can feel the icon inside me. But something's wrong.
Uh-oh.
He was wasn't just afraid. He was angry. All right. Let's see what you've given me.
Do we have Leviathan abilities out the gate? The power of water. Oh, I didn't expect them to just throw us Leviathan abilities like that. Clive has claimed a portion of the Eikon Leviathan's essence. Attuning with Leviathan not only changes the elemental aspect of Clive's magic spells, but also allows access to several new iconic abilities, such as Cross Swell, an inescapable rush of water that pummels enemies from multiple angles. Ooh, okay. Ability details are found on ability. Yeah. Leviathan's iconic feat, Serpent's Cry, can be used to summon to Clive's off-arm a sea serpent, capable of spitting precision strikes to enemies at great distances. Pressing square in this state will unleash a tidal torrent, multiple bursts of water capable of forcefully knocking back smaller creatures, while pressing triangle will fire a powerful jet of water, a tidal stream, at enemies situated just outside of melee range. Ooh. Tidal Gauge. Using these attacks will deplete your tidal gauge, becoming unavailable when the gauge is empty. The gauge will slowly replenish over time, but can be refilled quicker by pressing circle. Time a second press perfectly with the on-screen prompt to immediately refill. Okay, so QTE. As well as earn unlimited ammunition for a short period. Tidal Gauge is also replenished when successfully doing a precision dodge. While using Serpent's Cry, pressing R1 again while dodging will cause Clive to roll in the air, extending the dodge even further. Super dodge? Tidal Torrent can be used while rolling by pressing square. Only Leviathan's abilities are available during this battle. Oh, well, okay.
Leviathan.
No, just a negative, but a formidable adversary nonetheless.
I have a gun. They gave me, oh, okay, I get it now. They just gave me a gun, chat. More or less. I have a Clawitzer on my arm.
Oh, look. It has friends.
Bad. It sure does, but also, I'm a gamer. Behold the power of water. Deluge. Okay, yeah, it is seriously a gun. Duly noted. Bad. Tidal Stream. Good recover. Unlimited water power. Help. Okay, this is very interesting. It just turns Clive into like a long-range character, which is very neat. Crosswell, go. Seems pretty good. I like rapid fire gun. Nailed it. Stop summoning things. It's very rude of you. I'm deluging you again. I like deluge. Ah, I messed it up. It's fine. I'm a gamer. This is all according to Keikaku. Get taken down, idiot. I'm out of water. I got more water. Okay, this is neat. It's like a very different play style for sure. It turns Clive from a melee class to a ranged class, which is really funny.
Is everyone all right?
He seems calmer now.
You said Walius was frozen in time. But he knew we were here. How?
I don't know. He's never reacted to anything or anyone. Until now.
The child has been bound for nigh on a century. If he has been conscious from the first, we must remove the seal at once.
It's not that simple. I wish it were, but... there's more to this tale. It would be better if I explained back at the village.
I see. Then let's return before it gets dark.
I'm sorry, Walius. I will make this right.
Poor century-old baby. Flo. 8 inner gates open.
So, part of Leviathan is inside you now, is it? Does it hurt?
No. Not anymore, anyway.
Good. Because I still have need of your strength. If you want to know the rest, we should head to the Witten Hall.
Of course.
We can have some side quests to do first, maybe? Doesn't look like it.
Look there! The Triveri's back. Do you think this...
I don't think we've saved Wallius, unfortunately. Can I look at my new Eikon stuff? Leviathan channeled. Oh, look at that. Finally, I have them all. Hey there, Leviathan. How you doing, buddy? I like your little constellation going on. What's your super move? Tsunami. Wave of titanic proportions to swallow up and spit out all the enemies caught in the surf. That sounds awesome. Learn. Upgrade. Yeah, I was about to say, like, the final form mastering is probably super expensive. Abyssal Tear. Rip open a slowly expanding gateway to the murky depths of the sea, and when the timing is right, summon forth an abyssal storm that hones in on nearby enemies. What? Okay, it has a charge like Giga Flare. Interesting. I like Deluge. It's pretty cool. Summon a water serpent that transforms and does yada yada yada. What happens when I master this? Extends it. Okay. And then mastering the, upgrade increases hits mastery, allows assignment to any Eikon. Yeah. Upgrade. Gradually augments firing speed while ability is active, increasing maximum possible hit count. Intriguing. Increases maximum tier size from 3 to 4, allowing more water to discharge during event. I have enough to upgrade all of these. Create twin waves that rush inward, dragging smaller enemies to a central point before Clive. That's the least interesting one. Definitely we gotta try out Tsunami. I'm interested in Abyssal Tear and Deluge. I don't know which one I would like better, but we'll see. But I think what I'm gonna do is, how do I change my ability set? I want to change... Is it L2 and R2? No. It's R1. Yeah, so let's leave my old set as it is. Okay. Oh, I see it at the bottom where it has L1 and R1 now. I didn't see that at first. Let's try putting Leviathan here. I think the one I'm most willing to go without for now is Garuda. So let's set all this up. Square should be Giga Flare. This should be Satellite. This should be Heaven's Cloud. And then what do I normally put here? Judgment Bolt, I think. Or Diamond Dust? Diamond Dust? I can look, actually. Yeah, Diamond Dust. And then I normally have Judgment Bolt here, and I do really like Judgment Bolt, but I like all my other things. I think Satellite will combo nicely with Tidal Wave, actually, so I don't want to get rid of it. Give me Abyssal Tear here, and let's try it out, and then we'll put Tsunami here, because we're definitely going to use Tsunami. And then I'm just going to go without Judgment Bolt for now, and we'll see how this setup works. Hello there.
How may I be of service?
I will ask about you.
My name is Delina.
Oh, this isn't voiced all the way. My bad. I was waiting for her to talk. I serve as adjutant to Lady Shula, tributary of my city. Ah, so Lady Shula's professor level is high enough to have adjutants. I see. While other adjutants who came before me played the role of guardian as well as aide, Lady Shula is an able warrior in her own right and requires no protection. So I assist her in ministering to our people's affairs while she is absent or indisposed.
By way of example.
I don't like when games have, like, some dial, like some voice, some not. I hate when games do this. By way of example, it was I who informed the rest of the village of your coming at the tributary's request. If there is aught you wish to know of our people or our village, please do not hesitate to ask. All right, about the village?
As I'm sure you're aware,
This land was once the domain of the Northern Thens, though the settlement had lain abandoned for some time when our ancestors' wanderings finally brought them here. Remote as it was, it seemed to them the ideal place to settle, and they duly cast the glamour over it that their new home might remain hidden.
the secret of the spell itself.
Oh my goodness, the font got so small. Why couldn't this be two separate paragraphs, or two separate, like, text lines? The secret of the spell itself had been passed down from generation to generation since the time we left Ash. We used it to disguise our camps that the custodians of the lands through which we wandered should not learn of our trespass, and it was these temporary enchantments which led our ancestors to contemplate a more permanent solution upon arriving here.
So they built the cairns.
Filled with all the shards of crystal the tribe could spare and summoned forth a glamour large enough to cover the entire land, and for many days and nights thereafter their bearers labored to attune the spell that the outside world might see this place slowly succumb to the Blight.
And thus we hid ourselves away.
Welcoming none into our private haven until you, that is. At first, the spell only worked one way. It was only after the skies changed that we conjured a second illusion for the benefit of those inside. It was Lady Shula's idea. A salve for the nerves of those who feared the roiling storm clouds were a harbinger of the end. Well. I pray that it brings you a little relief from the darkness of the world beyond the wall, as it has done us. That was a lot longer than I thought it'd be. Alright, tell me about the moats of water.
Our story began.
On the narrow coasts of southern Ash, where, for want of arable land, we relied on the mountain rains to quench our thirst, and the bounty of the sea to fill our bellies, and thus did we learn the value of water.
After the fall of Drake's Horn.
We spent decades in exile, drifting across the deserts and snowfields of the Twins, till at last we arrived here in Mysidia, our second true home. It was Drake's Horn. Drake's Horn must have been a mother crystal that existed before Clive was born, but was destroyed by someone who wasn't Clive, I guess? Here we found mountains, rivers, and seas not unlike those of our first home in Ash. All that we lacked was crystal. We have no mother crystal of our own here, nor have we ever received any stipend from our neighbors. Were it not for the few shards we had been able to stockpile during our wanderings in Storm, we might never have survived the first few winters, let alone cast the glamour that protects us. For to demand that the bearers among us sacrifice their lives for the benefit of the others was never an option. The hardships we had faced on our journey had brought us together, and we would not be divided again. Thankfully, our unity proved our strength. And so here we have stayed, dependent only upon the blessings which this land provides us. The springs, the rivers, the seas, these are all we motes of water need. How nice.
Fare you well, my lord.
Fare you well also. Alright, into the Withen Hole.
To understand the spell which binds Walius, you must first know who we are, and what drove my forebears to commit such an atrocity.
This tapestry.
Is our story, the one that brought us here. After generations of wandering, my people sought refuge in northeastern Storm, some 170 years ago. But in exchange for our safety, the Gregorian Church demanded we renounce our faith, and branded us heretics when we could not.
To be exterminated, as a lesson to others.
And so was it chronicled in the Imperial histories, for anything less would have made the Church seem weak. Yet a handful survived. The few who did fled north and west, and in doing so discovered two things that would forever shape our fates. The first was an old legend, revealing how to make your very own Mother Crystal.
I've heard that one before.
Yes, yet it gave them new hope, however false. Our ancestors convinced themselves that they could recreate the divine if they could only find a strong enough heart. A living being capable of channeling torrents of ether. And the heavens provided.
A dominant. Well, yes.
They'd stumbled across a nostrum in an ancient ruin, which they believed could provoke a sudden outpouring of a creature's ether. They meant to enrage his Eikon. Leviathan would have destroyed everything, had our people not made their second important discovery. A means to stop time itself,
Where did they find that? The Northerners had no such magics, or they would have used them.
When our ancestors first arrived, the land was uninhabited, save for an old witch who lived on the highest peak. Her body had been consumed by the curse, a cruel payment for her long years of service to the Northern Thanes. So desperate were they to prevent the fall of Drake's Eye, they'd forced her to devise a spell to stop time.
But Drake's Eye did fall.
It did. When she finally perfected the necessary magics, it was already too late. As punishment for her failure, the Thanes exiled her to this forsaken place to live out the few days she had left. Knowing her suffering, our ancestors cared for her as best they could, and in return, she gifted them her spell. That even though she should die, her legacy might live on. So armed with both the knowledge of the ancients and the secrets of time, our ancestors settled upon an ambitious plan. They would create a new Mother Crystal, and enchant it that it might endure for all eternity. Thus would our people's wandering, our suffering, finally end, and prosperity visit us once more. And all it would require was the sacrifice of a single child. A small price to pay, or so they believed.
Another victim of man's blind reliance on the Mother Crystals. So we know the seal source. How do we break it and restore the flow of time?
Do you recall the Dome of Light on top of the cliffs to the west? Inside lie the ruins of an old temple. It was there that the witch built the Vare, a conduit of sorts that channels her remaining ether into the Surge. But it's been a long time since anyone set foot in the place. And now, there are others who claim it as their own.
Then we shall go prepared for a fight. That said, it may be best if one of us stays behind.
You think the village could be in danger?
We saw the ether flow from Walius in all directions, but only encountered a single familiar. There will be more. And should even one make its way here, I doubt the walls could hold it back for long.
Then I shall stay. The Phoenix will see your people safe, tributary.
You have my thanks.
Very well. We should depart at once. I fear time may no longer be a luxury we can afford.
All right, Joshua, don't screw up. Count on you, bro.